Very good afternoon to everyone out there. I'm Madam Elna from SMK Gapor, DPHA Gapor, Kuching. And this afternoon, we will be looking at the English paper for our webinar program for excellence in SPM 2022. This program is an initiative of the Sarawak State Education Department in collaboration with the Kuching District Education Office, and it is an effort to assist teachers and students alike to further understand and master the latest format, the strategies, and the techniques in answering the hot questions in the SPM papers with regards to English 1119. It is hoped that the efforts will improve the candidates' academic performance in the in the examination. Without further ado, let me introduce our speaker. Can I redo that again? Sorry.
It was
Suzanne has been teaching English in both primary and secondary school for 30 years. She was trained as an English teacher at the Sarawak Teachers Training College as well as the Institute of Teachers Education in Penang. She obtained a bachelor's degree in education TESOL in UNIMAS and continued to pursue her master's in education TESOL in UITM. She is currently the head of the language department and teaches Form 4 and Form 5 English in SMK DPHA Gapor Kuching. She's also actively involved in many SPM workshops in Kuching. So with her vast knowledge and wide experience, we are indeed very honored and proud to have her share with us the SPM 2022 English Paper 2, the format, the hot answering techniques and strategies as we prepare for the forthcoming exam. So Madam Suzanne, over to you.
This afternoon, I will be sharing with you some of the answering techniques, okay, for paper 2, that would be the writing paper, SPM writing paper. And before we proceed, I would like to talk briefly about the paper itself, okay, where this would be a recap, okay. The paper consists of 3 parts. We have part 1 that would be the short communicative message, where the type of essay that you are going to write will be an email, and the type of language that you're going to use will be informal. We have about you will be writing about 80 words, and the mark allocation for this part will be 20. For part 2, it will be a guided essay writing, formal in nature, and you will be responding to a text stimulus, and the length of essay that you are going to write will be about 125 to 150 words, and that will be also 20 marks. Paper 2, part 3, it will be an extended essay writing, where you will be given 3 questions, but you will choose one to respond to, okay? So the types of question can be an article, a review, a report, or a story. And the length of the essay would be 200 to 250 words. And the mark allocation is also 20. So the duration of this paper is 1 hour, 30 minutes. And the number of essays that you are going to write will be 3 essays. As for the assessment focus, there are 2 parts here. First, we'll be looking at the task completion, okay? And for that, we'll be looking at the content, which also which carries 5 marks. The other aspect that we'll be looking at will be the linguistic competence, where you have 3 construct here. That will be the communicative achievement, which carries 5 marks, organization, 5 marks, and language. So as you write, you'll be tested based on these constructs: content, communicative achievement, organization, and language. And briefly, what does it mean? Okay, content, we'll be looking at whether the task has been fulfilled. For each of the parts that you are going to attempt, there will be a task that you have to fulfill. Okay, and that will be the content for your essay. So for each of the questions, if you have fulfilled those tasks, that will go under the 5 marks on the content. The second aspect would be the communicative achievement. Okay, as I mentioned just now, there are different types of questions, and they are of different genre. And since there are different genre, there'll be a different in the register that you use in this essays. Okay, and that will be under the communicative achievement, whether you have delivered the content to the reader successfully. The third aspect will be the organization of your essay, where we'll be looking at the content, and you have written an essay where the ideas that you put forward are coherent, okay, written in paragraphs that be tied together with connectors, with cohesive devices, okay, and that will be under organization. And lastly, for language, this will be the lexical and grammatical aspect of your essay, the vocabulary that you use to answer, to write about the subject matter, the type of sentences that you use, right? Whether it's simple, whether it's complex, compound complex, okay, there will be a type. And then whether you are using the appropriate words, okay, to express your opinions about the subject matter. So this will be the 4 assessment construct, okay, briefly to you. Okay, let's look at part 1, which is the short communicative message in a form of email. Okay, what is an email? I believe by now you're very familiar with this. Okay, it looks like this. Okay, in actual, when you go on your interface, you will get something like this. All right, but for exams, you might not get an interface like this. Okay, but the thing that we're interested will be the 4 constructs. So an email requires you to write a short communicative message to the one that will receive your email, and that person will respond to the email. And there's a word limit for this, which is not more than 80 words. And the question will be, okay, asking you about your opinions, advice, suggestions. And this will be put forward in the stimulus, okay, using WH questions. So how do we look at that? Okay, how do we look at the stimulus? Of course, the first thing you need to do would be read the instruction. Okay, this would be the first questions that you are going to attempt in your paper 2. So read the instruction before you start. All right. Be clear about what you're supposed to do. After that, then you go into the question itself. Okay, what would be the requirement? What is the question all about? And after that, then you will unpack the question itself, identify what are the tasks that you need to respond to. That would be the content. Okay, and because this is only about 80 words, you give only what the questions ask you. All right. So the time here, you can attempt this maybe in 20 minutes. Okay, the most. All right. And one answering technique you can use will be the FACTS. Okay, what is this? Okay, this is F will be for format. That is what is the type of writing, okay, you are, doing for this question. And then A would be audience, who will be reading your reply. Okay, so you have to identify your audience so that you know whether this piece of work is informal in nature or whether it's formal in nature. Then the next word will be content. Okay, so this will be the content of your email, and you have to identify the task. Okay, so far we can identify like 2 to 3 tasks in the email. The next thing you can do will be looking at the task itself. Okay, remember it can ask you whether to give suggestions, advice, or opinion. Okay, identify these main tasks, and S will be for your subject matter. What is the subject matter that you're talking about in this email? Okay, to make it clearer, we try this question. Okay, so we have this question. You receive an email from your friend Amy, who has just moved to your hometown. Okay, the email goes, "Hi, the school holiday is finally here. Let's go for a picnic with your friends. Where shall we go, and what can we do there? What should we bring? I'll be waiting for your reply. Bye." Now, write an email to your friend in about 80 words. Okay. So looking at the FACTS, okay, the F would be the format. Okay. So we know we are going to write an email, okay, from here. So this is when you unpack the question. So it says here, now write an email. So you know you're going to respond in the form of an email. Then the audience, who are you going to write to? So it's also here to your friend Amy. Your friend Amy, so this will be an indication that this is informal. Okay, the language that you're going to use, the tone that you're going to use will be informal. And then C, okay, what are the questions that you have to respond to in this question? So you look at the sentence, the phrases that I have highlighted in red. First, the first ratio will be, let's go for a picnic. Okay, this is not a question, but you still have to respond to this. Okay, before you go to the other 3 WH questions, you have to respond to this first. Okay, how would you respond to that? Okay, we'll look at it shortly. And then the next content that you have to respond to will be, where shall we go? What can we do there? And what should we bring? Okay, so these are all highlighted in red. So that will be the content. The T here will be what is the task. Okay, is it asking for suggestions, asking for your opinion, or asking for your advice? Okay, what do you think this would be? Okay, we'll check. I'll give the answer shortly. And then S would be the subject matter. Subject matter means what are we talking about here? Okay. So from here, we are talking about going for a picnic. Okay. We are, what do you call it? Your friend Amy is talking about going for a picnic. So we have the FACTS, and it goes like this. Okay. The format here, as I said just now, it's email. Audience will be Amy, and that will be informal in nature. Okay. Content, we have the 3 questions here. Where shall we go? What can we do? And what should we bring? And the task will be to suggest, and subject matter. So Amy is talking about a picnic and the activities that we are going to do during the picnic. So having to identify all this, okay, so your writing will be easier, okay, as in you will start to put them in the proper layout of an email. So if you look at this diagram here, all right, you will see that in writing an email, you will have subject, greeting, content, and signing off. Okay, I believe you are familiar with this because this is from your textbook, all right? And we'll put them in a floor chart here. Okay, for email, the address, okay, you have your address as Gmail, as Hotmail, all right? The one that you're familiar with. Subject matter, this tells the reader what the email is about and makes it easy to find it at a later date. Okay, so that would be a picnic with our friends. So this is what you put up in your subject matter. Okay, and after the subject matter, you have the salutation. Salutation would be how would you greet Amy, all right? So since we know it is informal, and you can use some of these samples here, okay? So the tone will be like hi, hello, okay? That will be appropriate to make it informal, okay? Then we have the opening response. And then opening response here would mean like you thank Amy for writing to you. Okay, you don't really need a long sentence here. It's just to acknowledge, to thank her for writing, or whoever is writing to you. And then for the next line here, useful greeting phrases. This can be omitted, all right. It's not like when you write a letter, okay, but if you want to include, you may, but keep it short. Okay, for example, how are you? I hope you are fine. And there are other greeting phrases that you can use. And opening paragraph, now you're getting into the content of your email. So it is important to have a good introductory sentence to introduce the topic matter, subject matter. Okay, so we are talking about picnics here. So I put up here too, but out there are many other forms which you can use. Okay, for example, to start with, I would like to. Then you continue with whatever subject matter you would like to introduce. Okay, it goes according to the question you are responding to. And then you can also use, first of all, I would like to. Okay, then you add in the subject matter. And after that, after you have clearly stated this, then you start going into the 3 questions that you have to respond to. Okay, and that would be, where shall we go? What can we do there? And what should we bring? Okay, so I'm putting up some samples here. Okay, to suggest would be, I would like to suggest, I think it's a good idea too. Okay, so here you just add in what is your suggestions, what is the idea that you're putting up. Okay, to give opinion, I think in my opinion, okay, and to advise, I think you need to, you should to. Okay, then closure, as for closure, you can use sentences like, I must go now, keep in touch, write soon, I'll be looking forward to hearing from you. Okay, or see you later, see you soon. And you can see that these are very short. Okay, to the point. It is telling that you have to go now. Okay, and you sign off. Okay, so this was the question, and then this is how we are going to put it again in your actual email. Okay, so we have the audience up here, subject matter, greeting, greeting phrases like the salutation, then the content, closure, and signing off. And this is the content, like what I mentioned earlier, picnic with our friends. So you have to respond to this. Okay, the response will be like, yeah, I will, I would like to join you. Okay, to confirm that you will be joining your friends, okay, to go for this picnic. So for example, you can say, yes, I would love to join too. So with that line itself, sentence itself, okay, is good enough to show that, okay, you are responding to this phrase here. And we have, where shall we go? For this, because Amy is asking for a suggestion, okay, it's not good enough just to mention that we'll go to a seaside. Okay, that is not good enough. She is asking, where shall we go? You should name a place. Okay, clear, appropriate. Okay, name a place where can you go for the picnic. And elaboration here means, where is this place? How far is it, from where you are right now? And what briefly describe what can you find here. Okay, so that will be responding to where shall we go. In other question, okay, if they ask you about where shall we go, like to get what do you call it, good food, you have to name a restaurant, name it. Okay, name it. If it's like doing activities, name the activities. Okay, be clear. What can we do? So here we'll be talking about activities now. When you unpack the question just now, you would see the word activity is in plural form. Okay, so the requirement of the question is asking you to name more than one activities. Okay, so after you name what are the activities that you can do, then you elaborate. How would you be doing this activity? And what should we bring? Okay, and what should we bring here will be related to the activities that you are going to do. Okay. Okay, this is some suggestion here. And after you have identified, you have answered all the question, and you're going to write them. Okay, you are going to put them in a flow that in one paragraph, into paragraph. Okay, it depends on you, but to tie down all the content together, you need some words that we call connectors, linkers, okay? And out there are many, okay? So I put up some simple ones up here, like simple connectors, conjunction, all right? We have and, but, or we have sequence connectors like firstly, next, in addition, besides, or finally, lastly, moreover, okay? And some cohesive devices, we have however, therefore, for instance, although, compare with, similar, on the whole, in short, in brief, to sum up, okay? And this would be a sample essay responding to the question that I put up just now. Okay, you can see that this is the response. This will be the response for C1, C2, C3. There are two response here because we are talking about two activities. Okay, and the closure down here. Okay, with the email ends with just a word, bye. Okay, so after doing this, you check whether the contents are all there. Okay, you are able to put the correct suggestions, like going for a picnic, what can you do? The activities are appropriate for picnicking. You bringing the appropriate things, okay, related to your picnic activities. So that will be here under the communicative achievement. Organization here, okay, did you use any linkers, okay? Are the punctuation marks that you have used in this email correct? Did did you put any direct speech where you need question mark maybe, So you have to go through it again before you proceed to the next question. And lastly, the language. Okay, the structure, any repetition, any grammatical error. So you'll have to go through it once, twice, and after that, then you can move on to the next question. Okay, so here would be a question that you can try on your own, okay, with your classmates, maybe in your class. Okay, you can use the FACTS, okay, to identify the content in this question. Okay, we'll move on to part 2. There will be a guided writing. Okay, guided writing. You'll be given stimulus here in this question. Okay, and the stimulus contains a situation. It has 3 prompts relating to the situation, and student must use all the prompts given. So this is the content aspect of this question, and give reasons to for their point of view. So part 2 will be 20 marks, written in about 125 to 150 words, and it can be essay type. It can be an article, okay, argumentative type of essay, and the audience will depend on the stimulus. Okay, if they ask you to write a report here, they will identify the report is to be submitted to whom, to be given to whom. Okay, and the language here will be more formal. Okay, so this will be the second question that is in part 2. There again, before you start, you have to read the instruction and question. Okay, be clear about what you are supposed to do. Okay, and after that, you will look at the question where you will unpack the question. Unpack means go through the lines, the words. Okay, underline the key words you have in the question and look for that 3 main points. Okay, for here in the stimulus, they might give you the 3 main points in bullet form. All right, and then note the tense that they use in the stimulus. Then after that, you start to plan. Okay, plan how would you attempt this question. Decide on the appropriate style, whether they ask you to write an article, whether it's a review, whether it's a argumentative essay. Okay, and decide how you are going to introduce the subject matter, and then brainstorm the 3 points that are given, and you start to think about it, jot down whatever comes across your mind. Okay, as you look at it, jot it down. Okay, and then make notes, and later as you look at it again, then you start getting more details, and if they ask you for reasoning, you add in. Okay, so here it will take you some time to plan. All right, but if you have a good plan, the writing part will not be that difficult. Okay, so once you have your plan, you can start writing your essay. Okay, let's look at this question. So the instruction here, you must answer this question. Okay, it's compulsory. Write your answer in 125 to 150 words in an appropriate style. So class, it says, your class has been discussing the importance of taking up hobbies, and your teacher has asked you to write an essay about the benefits of taking up hobbies. In your essay, you should write about the types of hobbies that are good for students, why everyone needs a hobby, and the benefits of having a hobby. Write your essay using all the notes and give reasons for your point of view. All right, so this is the question, the instruction, and the question. Okay, let's unpack this. Okay, so it's clear here that this would be an article. Okay, the style here, it would be an article. And then looking at the question here, the importance of taking up hobbies. Okay, the importance of taking up hobbies. So what kind of tense can you use here? The importance of taking up hobbies. Okay, so you have to decide on that. And as for the 3 questions, you can see the 3 bullets here. Types of hobbies that are good for students. Why everyone needs a hobby. and the benefits. Okay, so the content will be around these 3 questions. Okay. So now we are going to look at how you are going to plan this. Okay. The title of the article, the byline can be written either right after the title of the article or at the end of the article on the right. So if you look at here, there is layout. Okay, I have 2 layout here. The first one here, as it says, you need a title for this article. Okay, so if we go back to the question, so your class, you and your classmate, you were discussing about the importance of taking up hobbies. So your discussion was centered around this subject matter. So that can be used as your title here. Okay. And the byline here is you have to identify who wrote this article. So there are 2 ways to go about it. Firstly, you can write it right after the title. So it will be written by, and you write your name here. Or you can write it down here, okay, at the end after you have written your essay. So this would be how it will look like, okay? And the next thing now, we are going to work on the content. Okay, as mentioned earlier on, you have to introduce the subject matter. So you are talking about the importance of taking up hobbies. So answer straight to the point. All right. So some of you might be talking about what are hobbies, the types of hobbies, why we have hobbies, things like that. But as I mentioned earlier, okay, answer the question to what they want you to answer, what they ask you. Okay, so here, so the importance here, so you can start with why hobbies are important for all students. Okay, so respond to that. So what would be your opinion on that? So that will be your introduction here. Okay, so that will be your stand as why is it important to have hobbies. So I have here a suitable hobby will, can enrich the students' lives, for example. Okay, you name some activities like playing sports, reading, volunteering, or doing creative activities like painting, writing, or music. So you respond. Okay, the response here is it can enrich their lives, and you identify the types. So this will make up your introduction. Okay. The second paragraph will respond to the first bullet question, why everyone needs a hobby. So this is where you will tell the audience the student lead a well-balanced life. Okay. When you have hobbies, okay, practicing a hobby allows students to occupy the leisure times wisely, find passion in life through hobbies. So this will respond to the first bullet point. Okay, so you put up your key points, leading a well-balanced life. The second question, asking about the benefits of having hobby. Now, here there are many benefits. You see the question, benefits. So you are going to respond to this, giving more than one. Okay, so this is where you can use your sequence connectors. Okay. Firstly, a stress reliever. Student gets away from the pressures of studying. Secondly, make friends through hobbies. And we have finally can learn and develop new skills through hobbies. So here you put up three. So although this is in one paragraph, third paragraph, you can break this down. Okay, if you feel that um, you can have it in two paragraphs, by all means. All right, there's no limitation here. Okay, lastly, the closure for this essay, looking at the benefits of having hobbies. Okay, now this is putting your view about the subject matter. So, what do you think about the subject matter? Okay, and suggested here. Okay, you can put like saying like you can't afford not to have one. So that with that sentence, it wraps up, the whole thing here, what you think about the subject. Okay, so this would be the response to the question, the article question. And you can apply this for other subject matters. Okay. The most important thing is understand the question, plan. Okay. You plan properly, and the write up later will be easier for you. Take some time to plan your answers. Okay, I will move on to part 3. That would be the extended writing. I'll start with review. Okay, so review is technically it's a kind of report. Okay, where you can evaluate some a subject matter, and you report to someone, or you are going to write about it. Okay, so here I have put up it can be a report about a text, an article that you read. Okay, it can be about an event. Okay, event like what happened in school, and a place. Okay, talking about a restaurant, a homestay, a park, hotel, a mall. All right, or you review about a story. Story here, it can be a storybook, it can be movie. All right, and when you talk about this, all this, your response about can be positive in nature, it can be negative in nature, and the purpose of reviewing this, so that will determine whether you're going to talk positively about it or otherwise. Okay, and the essay itself can be 100 and sorry, salah nih. This is wrong, right? This the length of the essay should be around 200, 250. right? And you should be spending most of your time on part 3, because the length of the essay is one. The other thing is, this is an extended writing task where you have to respond to the questions given. Okay, and this needs personal response. Okay, so one of the way that you can respond accordingly would be using what did you see, okay? What did you experience? What did you watch, observe, okay? Or what did you feel? Or when you have to review about food, and that will be how did it taste, okay? So you can use your senses actually in writing your review. Okay, so you should be covering um, most of the aspect once you are able to do this. And then the general guideline for this would be, um, first of all, look at the stimulus. The stimulus here means the question itself. Okay, that will be the guiding point how you are going to write your review, what you are going to write about. Okay, and then identify an appropriate title. So this will be also from the stimulus itself. That would be the subject matter. And then provide an interesting introduction to your reader. Okay, for them to read. Okay, the rest of the review, you have to put forward an interesting or catchy introduction. Then ensure that it's a well organized review, where if the idea is to promote something, product, a place, okay, so it will be more very well organized, so that as reader read your essay, they will get the information that they would like to know about the place, maybe the product. So you have to organize your content, okay, and then focus on the strength and the weaknesses of the product. This is where, when you have to write an essay, like you have to compare product, maybe, okay, or having a laptop or desktop, things like that. So you might have to write about here I put it up as the strength and weaknesses of the reviewed product, okay, and then provide evidence to support the idea. So when you compare, provide some evidence. All right. So if you say this is good, why is it good? On what ground you say it's good, or on what ground you say this is better than that. All right. And the benefits and the purpose to audience. So what is the benefit that your audience will get? When they read your review. And then describe and express opinion. This will be, if you look at the question that we have been talking about, okay, this is the third question that we have been talking about. You can see that the last part of the question will always fall back to you, okay, giving your opinion, your personal experience, and later you will have to respond, okay, personally to the question, okay. So this is just a general guideline for you to use when you write your review. And for language and tone, okay, use standard English, because we are um, going to the extended writing part, and most of this question, okay, will require you to write using formal language, formal English, okay. And then sound lively by using a variety of sentences. Okay, the type and the length. For example, you can add in idioms, okay, saying, you can verify your types of sentences, introduce some complex sentences, compound complex sentences, and drop some uh, direct uh, direct speech if there is a requirement for it. Okay, so this will make your essay sound lively. Okay, not only that, you can because it's a review, you'll need a lot of adjectives here to describe, okay, to make it more real. Your audience, your reader will be able to, even if he or she closes his eyes and imagine things in his head, how the place would look like, how the sound would look sound, how the food would taste. Okay, so this is what we are aiming for here. And engage your reader, the reader, by using you or asking questions. This would be, not throughout the essay, but it is good to drop one or two, just to partly to display that you can also get them into your review, be part of your review. Okay, and give your view immediately, directly, and passionately. This will be the closure. Okay, so what is your opinion about your review, the things that you have reviewed? So people would, when they look at a review, when they read about review or a place they would like to visit, they would, look at this, your personal experience with the product, being there. And this is very important. Okay. And next, we have a question here. Okay. So the movie, this is a movie review. Okay, the purpose is to provide readers with general idea about a film. What is the film all about? Okay, someone is thinking of going to watch a movie, and they would like to look at what are the reviews of those who have been to the cinema or have watched the movie. So the purpose here is to provide them with some ideas, okay, based on your experience, and to help viewers to decide whether or not to go and watch this movie. So your review can influence viewers. Okay, if it's a good review, then if it's a good positive review, then people would come out, okay, and go and watch the movie. All right. Okay, so this is a sample question that we will try out. You recently saw this notice in a magazine. Review required. Okay. You have watched an interesting movies. Have you watched any interesting movies lately? Send us your movie review. Say what you enjoyed about the movie. Would you recommend the movie to your friends? Why? The best reviews will be published in our newsletter. Write your review. Okay, so that is the question. And of course, you have to unpack what are the things that you have to respond to. Okay. Okay. So we have identified 4 content question here. Okay. The first content question would be C1. Have you watched any interesting movies lately? Okay, so you can see that there's a question mark there. Okay, and then the second question will be what you enjoyed about the movie. All right. Thirdly, would you recommend the movie to your friends? And lastly, why? Okay, so there are 4 there according to the highlighted phrases. So we'll go back to the guideline that I posted earlier. So we work on using the stimulus as our guide to write the review. Okay, and then what would be the title for this review? What do you think? Okay, so what are we talking about? We're talking about a movie that you have viewed recently. So here, the title, name it really. After that, ensure as simple as a simple yet catchy introduction to catch readers' attention. Okay, what would you be writing here? Okay, because you want the reader to read your review about the movie. Okay, so what would you be talking about here? So what you can do, provide some information about the movie, okay, which I will show you after this. Okay, what would be the information? So this is just a guideline, okay, the flow of ideas, how you go about it. And then with that also, you have a brief summary of the storyline of the movie, okay, and describe your opinion about it, a brief description. Okay, what do you think about it? Okay, and then later on, talking about what is good about the movie. You should be using some detail on filmmaking. Okay, so this is where your language will come in. Appropriate words, okay, to describe a movie. So what would that be? Okay, we could be talking about the characters in the movie, the soundtrack, cinematography, the what do you call it? The storyline. Okay, so this is what you are going to talk about. Is related to the subject. Appropriate words. Okay, and then your recommendation. What do you think? Should people go out and go and watch the movie, or they should not? Uh, they should find another movie to watch, and then that will be in your conclusion here. So this is a breast map. Okay, a breast map. So you have the title here. So you have your paragraph here. So this again will be just a guide. All right, it's a guide for you to plan to draft your review. So in the first paragraph, as mentioned just now, you name the movie, the genre. Genre here means what kind of film is this? Is it a horror movie? What do you call it? Futuristic. Okay. You can name that. Okay. So those are the kind of vocabs that that you will describe the movie, and where did they film it, the setting, you get information. Okay, name the directors or actresses. Okay, this will be some information you can add in your first paragraph, your introduction. So you know the movie background. Okay. Then the second part here will be the highlights from the storyline. Okay, you can describe the main characters. You can mention uh, how did the story goes, like the main character have accomplished something, okay, from beginning to the end. Okay, what are the troubles that the characters went through? This will be the storyline itself. Okay, and then the main point of the plot. So here you will start to give your opinions. Okay, state your opinion about the movie. You like it, you don't like it, okay, why? And you share your point of view. So when you say you like it, it doesn't stop there, okay? That's where you are going to talk about, the acting, like I said, just the soundtrack, that is where your content will be. And then the end part, the closure of your review will be state your recommendation and summarize the movie. So that would be okay. Putting up here. Okay, this is a sample from one of the samples that we can get out there. Okay, so this would be a sample for that, for a movie review. Okay, you can read this later. Moving on to part 3, that will be a report. Okay, the next type of essay, okay, you might find in part 3 will be the report. Okay, a report would be reporting a problem, okay, which will be addressed by different bodies. For example, we have the governmental bodies such as the municipal councils or city halls, okay, or the problem can be addressed, okay, by authorities like the school authority or organization where we have lots of NGOs, okay, and person here, it could be the principal of the school. So the piece of writing here, okay, reporting, so that action can be taken to rectify, to solve the problem. Okay, so this will be written in formal language, okay, and the issue, the problem must be described vividly so that the authorities concerned will know what's the problem and they will know what to do, okay? And it's not only putting up problems, we also can suggest, okay, how we can rectify this problem, okay, suggestions and recommendation for future actions. Okay, and this also will be written in 200 to 250 words. Okay, guidelines here, what to write. Of course, it needs a title also. Okay, a title would make it easier for the authority concerned to zoom in, okay, what the report is about. And divide your reports into clear paragraphs, and this needs subheadings, okay? And then state the report's aims or M or M's, okay, in the introduction. This must be clear and use formal language as in full forms rather than adding contractions in your sentences. And you might need to make recommendation, okay, in your conclusion. And this is some kind of a response, personal response from you. Okay. Now we look at the how you will be writing your report. Okay. So we have a title up here. You underline it, okay, and then we have the first paragraph, which is your introduction. This is your subheading, okay, underlined, and then state what you are going to do in this report. Okay, for example, the report aims to highlight the problem faced by students during recess time at the canteen. Okay, so if you look at that, that is not that clear enough. All right, so you have to tell what is that problem, what are they facing at the canteen. Okay, the report aims to highlight the lack of uh, facilities where students are not able to eat at the canteen, for example, because lacking of tables and chairs. And for example, okay, so it you have to write it clearly here. Okay, then you move on, and after that you have to describe. Okay, um, when is that? What time is that? Okay, and then move on to paragraph 2 to 4. Okay, you break it down according to the stimulus that you have. This is the main body of your report. Okay, the content will be here. Use subheadings for each paragraph. So the main reason is, so maybe this is paragraph 2. The main reason is, then you state what is the problem, what is the reason for this issue. Okay, and then use connectors like firstly, secondly, next. Okay, or furthermore, you have moreover, in addition. Okay, this will make the points that you've put forward, okay, in order. Okay, and then the last paragraph will be on recommendation and making suggestion about what you think should be done. So this is your opinion. Okay, your opinion. So you can use phrases like, in conclusion, to sum up, I recommend. Okay, I suggest. All right. So these are just a brief, okay, guidelines where you can, figure out how you would plan your answer. So go back to this question here. We'll try it out here. Your English class has attended a talk on how to help keep the environment clean. Now your teacher has asked you to write a report, giving suggestions about what your school can do. Write your report in 200 to 250 words. Okay, now this is the stimulus. Okay, stimulus with the questions, with the task that you need to address. So you will have to unpack the question itself. Okay, see what are the things that you have to address. Then after you have identified that, and then you will plan your report. Okay, if you realize in all the types that we have been looking at, planning is very important. Okay, after you have planned, then you will write your report. Okay, 3 simple steps, but you need to respond accordingly. So so this is how we unpack that question. So it is a report. So the task is to write a report giving suggestions. Okay, so here your task is to give suggestion on what school can do to keep the environment clean. Address this. Okay, address this. So if you look at the question here, giving suggestions, this shows that you need to give more than one. Okay, so we can put forward like recycling, energy, save energy, and plant more trees. Okay, so you put up 3 suggestions here. And who would be your audience here? Who are you writing this to? Okay. And then what kind of tense will you be using? And the type of language and how long your essay would be. Okay. Now we look at the table here. So number of paragraph here. Okay, the first thing you are going to do will be the title. So the title will be a report on what. Okay, so that will be on top. And then you have the first paragraph where you have your introduction. Second paragraph talking about the first way that you have suggested, that will be on recycling. Okay, now as you planned, you ask yourself using the WH questions. Okay, what is recycling? How? Okay, what would be the effect? And then you also jot down some more information to make it clearer, give example, elaboration. Okay, so as you plan, you write this as it comes. Okay, and then you move on to the next paragraph that will be talking about saving energy. Okay, saving energy. Now, when you suggest saving energy, some might not know what is saving energy. So give some explanation about it. Okay, what it is about, and this would be some actions that will display that you are doing saving energy actions in school. Okay, and what is the outcome if we practice this? Okay, so jot it down. The next paragraph will be planting about more trees. Why trees help? Okay, what would be the result of that? Okay, if we have more trees, so it will be written like this. Okay, just put it down first. Okay, and then with that, then you plan, put in your connectors, sequence connectors, linkers, okay, conjunctions, to tie all this. Okay, the second paragraph to the third paragraph to the fourth paragraph, so that it will be one whole piece of information for the audience. Okay, whoever's going to read your report. Okay, it's clear. And lastly, what would be your recommendation? Okay, that will sum up actually the three suggestions that you have here. Okay, in one word or in a very short paragraph. So this would be roughly how you would look at the question. Okay. So here I have put up how the report would look like. So you have the title here, personalized. Okay, personalized means the name of your school is here, because this question is something to do about what your school will be doing. So it's not like any other school, it's your school. Okay, and because this problem is related, okay, your school is part of it, so name it. Okay, so you have the subheadings all here, and an example of how you would put forward the aim of this report is to suggest ways the school can help to keep the environment clean. It's very clear, responding to the question given. Okay, so you have the first suggestion, the second, the third. In conclusion here, to sum up, by recycling more recyclable materials, paying more attention to the energy usage, and planting more trees, the school can play its part in helping the environment. Okay, this is tidying up the three suggestions in one sentence. Okay. Okay, that's report, and we'll move on to the last type of essay that you will find in part 3. There will be a story. Okay. This is a suggested approach, okay, of how you can write your story. And I will start with the a question itself. Okay. Your teacher has asked you to write a story for an essay writing competition. The story must have a title. And the title is given to you here, A Memorable Day. Your story should include a description of the day, the reasons why it is memorable. Okay. First, is mentioned over and over. Okay. Read the question, read the instruction. That's where you start. Okay. And then underline the keywords in the question to unpack the question itself. Okay. That will give you a better understanding of what would be the scope of my story. Okay. Now, I have shared this with my students. Okay. And one of the response that I got for a memorable day was talking about Teachers' Day.
Now let's look at part 3, which is the extended writing a story. We have a question here. Your teacher has asked you to write a story for an essay writing competition. The story must have the title, A Memorable Day. Your story should include a description of the day, the reasons why it is memorable. Okay, now let's look at the steps that we can use to work out this story. As you know, um, in writing a story, okay, you have to unpack the question first. That is to understand the question. Okay, what would be the content, the perimeter of your story, the perimeter of uh, uh, the events that you are going to write in your story. So underline the keywords, okay, in the story, in the question, sorry, in the questions, and unpack. Okay, unpack means uh, uh, think about what would this word mean, okay, and what is the scope of things that I can talk about. Okay, so as you read the questions, this is what you are doing, all right, so that you understand the story, the questions, and then you would know the scope of what to cover, all right. So you have uh, the words here, the title itself, okay, a memorable a day. What would you understand by the word memorable here? Okay, it would be a day that is unforgettable. You will always remember this. You remember it for the rest of your life, all right? It's a very, very special day, all right? And then your story should include a description. A description here would be uh, you have to describe the day, okay, that you are talking about. So in doing so, the sequence of events is very important. All right. So the time words that you use, like at first, and then next, Okay, and then after that, during, while, all these time words. This would be very, very useful for you to describe the day, the flow of the events for the day. And then as you talk about the events, you try to describe it as vivid, as clearly as you can. And this you can use the adjectives, okay, various adjectives which you can relate to your senses. For example, what did you hear? What did you see? What did you observe? What did you feel? How did you what did you feel? And things like that. Okay, so you describe this um, uh, in your story, and then you also use adverbs, okay, uh, to describe the feelings, the actions that you have, and then at the same time, uh, uh, you will add some direct speech. All right, so this would be the description. Okay, when you look at the word here, a description of the day, there the happening on that day, okay, is a lot of events, and you try to make it very, very clear in your writing. And then the next bullet point there is the reasons why it is memorable. So the reasons here is plural. It will be more than one reasons uh, why the day is memorable. So when you read the question like this, these words will come to your mind, and you start, you know, uh, write them down. Okay. Then once you have all that, then you go to brainstorm and try to organize your ideas, what you had in mind. Okay. So using the plot line, okay, or in a story, where you start with your exposition, where you start with exposing what was the uh, memorable day about. So you start with your setting, okay, when was it, what time was it, the place, all right. So this would be information that you can start with. However, um, uh, you can have different ways to start this. Okay, you can start with a dialogue. You can straight away describe the place or time. You can describe what happened. Okay, so this would be your opening, the exposition of your story. And then you also introduce the character. For this question, it would be you, your story. So you will be the person, okay, will be the person in the story, okay. And then the plot. So this will be the main content of your story, where you will write one or two paragraph, all right, to develop your story, where there will be a turning point in the story, okay. um and then at the end, what happened in the end, okay, that would be referring to your feelings, comment, reactions to the events that you have gone through, maybe for the day. All right. So that will be the ending. So you have an organization of thoughts of the events that you have in mind, and this can be a true experience, okay, that you had gone through. Otherwise, it can be something that you have read somewhere, something that you have observed, watched some in a film maybe, and you would like to use that, okay, as the event in your story. All right. So this is the organizing your thoughts, your ideas, your story. Then we move on, putting in the information. Okay. So here I've put up some information. For example, this is time one day in early spring. Okay. On the beach, character I and my former classmate Haris. So the plot: woke up, went for walk on the beach suddenly. So you woke up in the morning suddenly. Someone shouted from behind. Okay, drop scarf. Voice sounded familiar. Who? Shocked, happy. Former classmate Haris. A drink at a nearby cafe. Chat a lot. Career. Okay, about career, life, memories in school. Okay, after long chat, sent home. And then climax here would be since then, dated few times, finally proposed. Uh, at the end here, we have when what happened in the end. Okay, it says there ending at wedding gown boutique, choosing wedding gown, couldn't wait for the wedding day. Okay, so that would be the framework that you will use to write your story. So from there, then you start to draft paragraph by paragraph. So use the strategy show not tell. Okay, adding what did I see, what did I hear. Here you can add a bit of direct speech. All right, or and use whichever is appropriate related to your description. You may use you may describe the events, the day. Okay, for example here, early spring, woke up early, enjoy the beautiful and fresh morning. So we can see here, enjoy the beautiful and fresh morning. This is something that you can feel. Okay, saw the sun shining through the window panes. Here, this is what you can see. I think you can also feel the heat. Okay, could hear the sounds of the birds chirping on the oak tree outside my house. So here is something that you can hear. And opening the window, enjoy the beautiful scenery of the blue sea. This is what I can see. And I believe you can also smell the breeze from the sea. All right. So reading this, okay, is giving the reader a clear picture of what the morning is, uh, what you had that morning. Okay, when you woke up. So so this is the description of the early morning. Okay, and then you go to paragraph 2. Decided to walk on the beach, enjoy the scenery. Suddenly, a guy shouted from behind. What did he say? Okay, so you can drop a direct speech here. Maybe shout, call your name, maybe, or say, or trying to get your attention. Okay, and drop scarf. His voice sounded familiar. Wondered, realized he was Haris. So you can use this to write that uh, scene. Okay.
Third paragraph, okay, is your ex-classmate, and then there are actions here, okay, and then fourth paragraph, after the long chat and some drinks, then what happened, okay, and then the ending. Where did you end? At a wedding gown boutique. Choosing wedding gown. Couldn't wait for the wedding day. Okay. So that will be the ending of the story. Okay. So upon writing this, after you have written your story, please revise, make changes to improve your writing. Okay. Look at the arrangement of words, sentences. Okay. to ensure that it's clear. If you have to describe, make sure the description is clear. Okay. Be sure to add descriptive words and detail for this question, because you are given allowance like to write to 250 by all means. Okay. And then you do your proofreading, correct any mistakes, spelling mistakes, grammatical errors. Okay. Read, and finally, after you are satisfied with your work, that will be the final draft where that you will rewrite, and that will be your essay that you will submit. Okay. Now, finally, we have look at email. Okay. Report, review. We have look at story, and finally, before you submit, look at your work again, the 3 essay that you are submitting. Make sure you have fulfilled the 4 construct. Okay, the one that I highlighted at the beginning, the content, you have answered all the tasks given to you, and your essay interesting, it can engage readers. Okay, the ideas that you put forward, okay, logic, appropriate, the organization, your punctuation marks are correct, paragraphing, okay, words that link, that tie down all the ideas together. And then lastly, language. Okay, what kind of language words you use, okay, whether they are uh, the common words that we use every day, or you have precise words, to talk about the subject matter. Okay. And then the structure, if you use certain structure, make sure structure here means when you talk about complex sentences, compound, complex, simple, and make sure it's not repetitive. You're using the same structure. Okay. And your grammar. All right. Go through your work before you submit your work. Okay. And that's is all about it for today.
All right. Thank you, Madam Suzanne, for your insightful sharing on the SPM English Paper 2. Now we will have the question and answer session. And if you have any question, please type them in the chat box on your right. Do you have any questions? Okay, we have one from Simon. He's from SMK Kecemerlangan. He has a question and he asked, if I write more than the number of words in paper 2, will marks be deducted? If I write more than the number of words required in paper 2, will marks be deducted? Cikgu Suzanne, what do you think?
Thank you, Cikgu Helena. All right, regarding these questions, as I
Your voice doesn't come up. Okay. Sorry about that. Okay. Thank you, Madam Helena. As I mentioned earlier on, okay, regarding the assessment content, Okay, the test is testing you for two main components. That will be the content and the linguistic aspect. Where under linguistic you have the communicative achievement, organization, and language. And from these two components, you can see that they are testing you for your quality of your essay. Okay, the content of your essay, whether you have fulfilled the task that you are supposed to answer. Okay, so it's not about the quantity of words. It's about how you write how you fulfill the task. Okay, you have added in the content. Okay, using the appropriate words, your language, and you are able to deliver the ideas to the reader. Okay, so but anyway, the word requirement for each task will be a good indication of how much you can focus on one part. And you know that in part 3 you have 200 and 250 words, so that would be a guideline of how much content you are going to have in that essay. Okay, so whether you be penalized or not, you'll be looking at the whether you have fulfilled the task. For example, the email you have to answer those three questions, for example. So whether you have fulfilled that. Okay, that is the what you should be looking at. All right. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much, Cikgu Suzanne. I see we have a lot of questions coming up. So there's one from Paul. Is it all right not to put the subheading?
Of how the report should be written and all that. Okay. Uh, it is good to go back to the module, the textbook that we have. Okay. Um, look back on what we have in the textbook. That will be a good reference for how you would um, come up with the format. Okay. All right. Thank you. Mm. Mm.
Thank you very much, Madam Suzanne. Um, okay, we have another question coming up. Um, I think I mute myself just now. So did you hear the question? Just now the question to Cikgu Suzanne's answer was asked by Madam Ting Siu Ping, is it, from KPN? She was asking, is it all right not to put the subheading? So Cikgu Suzanne was actually responding to the answer asked by Madam Ting just now. So there's another interesting question here. It says, teacher, what is the maximum and minimum paragraph when writing essay? I think you're trying to say what is the maximum and minimum number of words when writing the essay. So what do you think, Cikgu Susan? Part 1, part 2, part 3. We have different number of words, right?
Okay. Regarding this, it goes back to the content that you are supposed to respond to, because each question in each part, okay, you are required um, to respond to some questions in the questions. For example, the email. If they give you like three WH questions in the email, okay, so you know that you will have to write the content. The response to your essay will be about those WH question which you have to
Answer.
answer.
Okay,
Okay,
so
so
you look
you look
you look
you
at
look at
the
the
questions.
questions.
So
So if it requires you to come up with a few paragraphs, uh, then you write it accordingly. Okay, so it's not like you should write 5 paragraphs. It should you should write 3 paragraphs. It depends on the question. Okay, you are responding to the stimulus, the question they are giving to you in part 1, part 2, or part 3. Okay, so the number of words, especially for part 3, there are 200 and 250. So you know that there will be more content here. So that, and therefore there will be more paragraph here. So as it's good that you go back to your teacher, okay, in how to come up with paragraph. For example, when you have to talk about a new idea, then you come up with a new paragraph. All right. So if you have, you're still not too sure about that, okay, it's you still have time to talk about it to your teacher, okay, and practice in your class. All right. Thank you.
From Hong Yu. I don't know whether it's a girl or boy, but you're asking, are there any other formats apart from report, review, and story in part 3? So he was asking in part 2, article, argument, essay for part 2. And for part 3, we have report, review, and story. Is there any other formats that might come out in part 2 and part 3?
Okay. Thank you for the question. As far as we know right now, these are the format that we have been uh, informed. Okay, and we go back to what we do in class. Okay, if you have learned argumentative essay, you have learned article, you have learned report, you have learned review, you have learned story writing, then the test will be around and be about all these uh, types of writing you have been doing in class. Okay, so whatever you have learned in class in your in these 2 years, um, that will be what the writing test will be all about. Okay, thank you.
Thank you very much
Mhm.
once again, Suzanne. And do we have time to take one final question? There's one that's from a boy. Where is it? Did I see? Oh yes, it's from Clarence. He said, "What should I do if I'm weak in vocabulary? What should I do if I'm weak in vocabulary?" He says.
Okay, thank you, Clarence. Right. This will be, it goes back to what we do in class. Okay. You look back at what are the themes, what are the units you have been looking at, okay, throughout these 2 years. And you try to work on, okay, when you talk about, for example, right now in Form 5, you might talk about crime, okay. So you work out around the topic crime. What are the words that you should know, you know? So the next topic will be, a unit will be on times out. Then you build up your vocab around the unit that we have been talking about in the class, and from there you expand. uh, Reading would be good, okay. Reading, and it can helps you to build up your vocabulary. Okay, thank you.
Thank you very much, Suzanne, again.
Mhm.
Okay, any more questions? So since there's no more question, I'd like to take this opportunity to say a very big thank you to Madam Suzanne for your sharing on the SPM English Paper 2. And before we end, do we have any message? Do you have any message for the viewers? Cikgu?
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, students and fellow students, fellow teachers, okay, and everyone out there. We truly hope that you have gained some tips and writing techniques, okay, for your SPM writing paper. And some last tips from me. Firstly, when you write, this is a writing paper, please write clearly, okay? Keep the words apart, leaving a little distance between the words would help, okay? And then do proofread your write-up and check for spelling, punctuation marks, okay, tenses and grammar. Whatever time you have, once you have finished, do proofread, okay, and manage your time well, okay. If you look at part 3 will need you to write 200 and 250 words, so spend more time there, or okay. And then lastly, do write your question number for part 3, okay, don't forget, because there are 3 questions, and then you have to indicate which question you are attempting, okay. And with that, once again, I would like to thank our organizer for this webinar, that is the Sarawak State Education Department, and the co-organizer will be our Kuching District Education Office, for giving us this opportunity to share with you some writing and uh, answering techniques for paper 2. And to all SPM students out there, all the best uh, in your writing paper, okay. And we also like to thank all those who have directly and indirectly, okay, involved in assisting us to prepare and conduct this webinar to you. All right, thank you so much. Okay, bye.
I hope all of you have gained a lot from today's sharing. And last but not least, I hope all of you will do well in the coming SPM exam. And remember, don't give up, do your best, and God will do the rest. Thank you very much.
Bye.